Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So guys, in this video, we will have our discussion on this upcoming retrograde motion of the planet Saturn in the Pisces sign. So guys, it's the auspicious occasion of the Akshay Tritiya. I really wanted to talk on some spiritual, very religious and motivating kind of topic. So I thought a lot of people have been looking forward to this retrograde motion. So even if not in detail, we can briefly scratch the surface and we can see that what is coming our way. Guys, that goes without any saying that when it comes down to spirituality, Saturn and Pisces is a very beautiful blend. Now that requires a lot of the expertise and diligent efforts being put forth in the research that what happens when the same combination is happening in a way that Saturn is retrograde. So all of that guys we will try to understand in this video. So the whole discussion has been divided in three parts. We will try to understand the importance of Saturn being in the Pisces. We will try to understand the importance of Saturn being retrograde in Pisces, and then at the end we will try to briefly look at that how it is going to be impacting all the rising signs. So okay guys, first we will pray to Lord Ganesha. Om ek dantai vidmahe vakratundai dhimahi tanno danti prachodayat. We will pray to Lord Shani. Om bhagavai vidmahe Om भग भवाय विद्महे मृत्यु रूपाय धीमहि तन्नो शनि प्रचोदयात. So, guys, the summary or the encapsulated title for this combination is Blending Saturn's Karmic Rigor with Pisces' Spiritual Depth. So, guys, the very first thing is that the dates. So, Saturn is going to be turning retrograde on July 13th and it will turn direct on November 28th. Saturn has already moved to the Uttar Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which is seen as the epitome of the spirituality. So, from until October 2nd, Saturn is going to be transiting in the Uttar Bhadrapada Nakshatra only. So, let's say, for example, if this is what you are seeking for, like spiritual answers, purification, cleansing, going deep in the occult, so this could be a very golden time for that. Guys, see, you have to understand that when we are talking about a spiritual combination, here we are not talking about planet like Ketu where everything is happening in a very invisible force kind of way, or everything is happening on a very subconscious level. Here we are talking about a planet which represents your professional deeds. Here we are talking about a planet which at the same time can give you attainment to the position and material rewards for all of your efforts as well. The only difference is that when it comes down to the Pisces, you have to be willing and ready to completely sacrifice and completely detached with your actions. Like the way, guys, I guess that is the only reason when we take up the example from Arjuna's life. So, even in the case of the Arjun, irrespective of the fact that all the Pandavas were equally capable and efficient, Lord Krishna still chose to drive the chariot of Arjun only because he had this potential and capacity to be a good disciple, to leave things completely in the hands of the god. Same is the case, guys, when we talk about the case of like even from the Mahabharata, you take up the case of the Karan. Karan knew this thing that the person who is asking for his gold quach and the kundal is Indra only in disguise. But he did not hesitate. And see, once you are willing to sacrifice, God and the universe will grant you something which is more valuable. You can take up the case of Lord Vishnu's Vaman avatar as well, where Bali at that stage, when even after renouncing or completely losing his complete kingdom, he even put forth his head in front of the Lord Vishnu as his surrender. So that is what I'm telling about, that spirituality in a purest way could be connected with Ketu, where the power and the blessings and the virtues, merits come on a subconscious way. But here we are talking about the planet Saturn, so which also holds the key that once you have passed the test and the trials, it will reward you as well. So, guys, introduction is that when Saturn goes retrograde, Vakri, appearing to move backward, its energy turns inward, intensifying lessons and prompting deep introspection. The classical Vedic perspective, so Saturn retrograde in Pisces in the Jyotish is Saturn in Vedic tradition. Vedic astrology's classical sages describe Saturn as a slow moving, serious planet that delivers the result of one's past actions. Mantreshwara's Fuladipika characterizes Saturn as the planet of longevity and stability, but also one bringing grief, fear, humiliation, poverty, hard labor, restriction, impurity, and confinement. So, again, guys, everything comes down to that these all are the virtues and the qualities which planet Saturn represents. So, whatever Saturn will give you, the path towards those fruits have to go through passing through the tests and trials of grief, fear, humiliation, and dealing with all these kind of situations which are written over here. Saturn is not like Venus, which will give you like luxury, comforts, enjoyment. Saturn is not like Jupiter, over where the knowledge and the wisdom will dawn upon, and you will find your path and you will achieve things. So, this is how you can achieve things. And I always say, someone who's going through the hardship or the delays and the restriction being caused by the planet Saturn. And if that person comes to you for the counseling, for the consultation, more than giving remedy to that person that, okay, you do this remedy and your suffering will go away, that is not going to happen. Your job as a consultant, as an astrologer is to make that person understand that through these hardship, what is the lesson which Saturn is trying to teach you. So, guys, Saturn is thus the great teacher, often causing sorrow or limitation, but ultimately building endurance, humility, and wisdom. In Vedic mythology, Shani or Saturn is the judge of karma, Karam Faldata, rewarding virtue and punishing the negligence. And I guess, guys, that is what the reason is that whichever house Saturn is ruling in your life. Like, for example, you are a Aries rising, Saturn has got a rulership over your 10th and the 11th. You are a Cancer Lagna, Saturn has got a rulership over your 7th and the 8th. So, if the answers or the result of those houses are blocked, are awaited, that means either you are not mature or you have not yet earned it. So that is what is with the planet Saturn. Saturn is completely fair. The way we say, Saturn can delay for our good, but it never denies. Now, guys, the second slide is when placed in Pisces, like Saturn being in the Pisces, a sattvic water sign devoted to faith and spirituality, Saturn's stern energy enters a realm of compassion, intuition, and dissolution. Pisces is considered the last of the moksha signs, representing the soul's urge to merge with the divine after all worldly experiences. So, thus, Saturn in Pisces emphasizes lessons of letting go, detachment, and spiritual surrender, often through trials. Now, guys, the Vakri Graha. So, in short, what does Vakri Graha represent? Again, guys, being an astrologer, I have certain tricks in my sleeve which always gives me good result. But if you have to go by the way it has been explained in the classics and all, so in Jyotish, a retrograde planet Vakri Graha is given special significance for like far from being weak. A retrograde planet is often considered strong or intensified. Jatak Parijat and other classic state that Saturn attains extra strength during its retrograde motion. In fact, retrograde status, like Cheshta Bala we say, the power of additional efforts, is one of the source of planetary strength in Vedic astrology. Mantreshwara's Fal Deepika even holds that a retrograde planet in debilitation behaves as if it is exalted, and an exalted planet when retrograde acts as if debilitated. So, guys, my way of approaching like a retrograde planet is very simple. The planetary energy gets intensified. So, for example, for a Taurus Lagna or the Libra Lagna, Saturn is a Yogarak planet. If it is retrograde, it is more intense, it is more powerful. Now, obviously, it's zodiac sign placement, it's nakshatra placement, it's navamsa placement will also matter. And again, guys, here we are talking about the planet Saturn. So don't expect that if Saturn is going to be strengthened, that means I'm gonna have easy pass. So that is one such myth which you have to get rid of. You have to get rid of this myth that Saturnian remedy will stop the suffering of the planet Saturn. See, Saturn work in this way only. It is preparing you for something which is very substantial. I will give you a very small example. Like, let's take up this example from Indian context point of view. Like, for example, a graduation which roughly like constitutes of 3 years. So, for example, there is one kid who comes from a wealthy family and he's just being well taken care of all of his needs, not putting much efforts. And there is another kid whose father has taken heavy loan to pay the fees and put him in that college. And those 3 years, this kid is very worried, is very stressed, putting too much pressure because he has this recurring like fear and pressure that he has to give worth and value of the money with which his father has like arranged with lot of efforts. And eventually the guy who comes from a wealthy family, he just completed his course with average grades, and the guy who was like a underdog passed with excellent grades, get a good placement, settle down and doing good. So that is what the difference with the way energy of the planet Saturn function. So even a strengthened Saturn does not take away the pressure of the hard work. The only difference is the lessons, and when the success comes, it tend to remain very, very big. Now, guys, now when we talk about Vakri Graha, so retrograde planet in the classics, this indicates the karma of a Vakri planet is complex. Its effects can reverse or greatly amplify. For Saturn, which is exalted in Libra and debilitated in Aries, this teaching implies that a debilitated Saturn retrograde can unexpectedly uplift as if in Libra, whereas an exalted Saturn retrograde may not give the usual full beneficence. The idea is that retrograde motion forces the planet to express its energy in a typical way, often turning its influence inward or to subtler planes. Some traditional authorities like Sanketa Nidhi even suggest that a retrograde Saturn yields result akin to the eighth house from its position. So guys, like retrograde, like retrograde Saturn in the Aries will act as exalted, and so I do not completely go by this rule and this principle. But one thing is for sure that somehow retrograde Saturn will yield result akin to the eighth house position and all. So yes, eighth house Saturn has got everything to do with intense, spiritual, mystical, and there's a heavy karma which you have to deal with in short. So, and this could also be attached with the retrograde Saturn as well. That before the success comes, there is some pending things which have been piled up, which needs to cleanse first. So, in some classical texts emphasize that Saturn retrograde is potent and karmically charged, requiring careful analysis of dignity and the house effects. Now, guys, Saturn in Pisces, classical interpretations. Brihat Hora Shastra notes that Saturn's influence causes fear of losing what one holds dear. Yet, if one persists through that fear and hardship, the best results of that area of life ultimately fructify. In other words, Saturn in a moksha house like the 12th can at first feel like a curse, forcing one to relinquish material support, but it becomes a blessing in disguise by clearing karma and setting the stage for spiritual realization. And again, guys, the biggest realization, if I were to say that in one line, it's about that there is some higher power which is responsible. Again, guys, sometimes what happens is that, for example, a girl who is of a marriageable age not being able to get married, a guy who like has got that aspiration, ambition, and even the skill and the capability to do good in the business, but still suffering. Business is not growing. So the Saturn in the Pisces energy at least give you awareness, realization that you are not the problem. Problem lies somewhere else. This could be the past. This could be something else. But you are not the medium. You are not just the source. I mean to say, you are just the you are a medium through which the higher energy is at work. That you get to know. That level of realization comes. So, traditional astrologers often say Saturn in 12th or Pisces favors detachment and even monastic tendencies. The person may spend time in ashrams, foreign monasteries, or isolated places. 12th house connected matters. As a result of Saturn's influence, we see here the classical principle that Shani or Saturn through a malefic can ultimately. Again, let me repeat. We see here the classical principle that Shani, though a malefic, can ultimately aid spiritual progress through endurance and renunciation. So, from the classical perspective, karmic implications of Saturn retrograde in Pisces are very heavy. Saturn is sometimes called the Lord of Karma, and in Pisces, a sign of accumulated karmic endings. It may signify old karmic debts coming due for resolution. Saturn retrograde periods, which occur every year for about 4 to 5 months, intensify this by slowing worldly progress, forcing reflection on unresolved duties and misdeeds, the lessons which needs to be learned. So now, guys, lot of the text. My goodness. Okay, let's quickly read it and then we will move ahead. So, because guys, yeah, a lot many people have been saying this thing that when you are just verbally saying that, so a lot of the points get missed out. So I just thought, okay, my face is not important. The knowledge is important. So let me make a proper slides and explain and talk from there. So, in summary, classical Jyotish would view Saturn's retrograde in Pisces as a double dose of karmic mandate. Yes, beyond any doubt, because Saturn in itself represents that, and Pisces is the collective energy over there. So Saturn's grind combined with Pisces' dissolution, it is a time or birth placement indicating the native must face the consequences of past actions, practice patience and detachment, and perhaps undergo isolation or spiritual penance. Yet, it also holds the promise of profound soul level growth. The 12th sign domain of moksha means that if these lessons are learned, Saturn can ultimately grant freedom from certain karmic bonds. The blessings are often subtle, example, contentment in solitude, wisdom born of suffering, or even liberation in a spiritual sense rather than material. So, guys, if you remember, I guess I gave the same example. There's a very famous book on the Tantra, and that has been written by some British guy. And the way it has been explained that he was being posted in the Bengal, in the Kolkata, before the time of India's independence. And that's how, in a way, you have been far away, posted away from your family and all, but you utilize that time, that sort of isolation and all for your own growth, for your own spiritual penance. And this is where the Saturn and the Pisces combination comes into power, comes into picture. Life and the circumstances will isolate you from the drama of the life, drama running around of the life. How you use that? Are you gonna waste it like crying and blaming, self loathing, or are you gonna use it for your own purification and awakening? So, this is where the evolutionary level of the soul comes into picture. So, as the sages say, Shani Dev eventually rewards perseverance and sincere discipline, turning tears into enlightenment. The classical mantra, Shani Sadesati, the dreaded 7.5 year Saturn period, even ends with upliftment after trials. Thus, from the traditional standpoint, Saturn retrograde in Pisces is a stern but compassionate guru, bringing one face to face with their shadow and attachments so that the soul may ultimately transcend them. Now, guys, now just because we have understood it from classics point of view, now let's look at it in a psychological, in a spiritual way. So the inner work and the soul evolution. So Saturn retrograde in Pisces can be seen as an invitation to do serious shadow work, engage in karmic healing, and restructure the subconscious mind. So the point number one is confronting the shadow, the Carl Jung insights. Psychologically, Saturn's retrograde motion turns its energy inward. So, beyond any doubt, a retrograde motion of the planet has got more to do with the introspective power of that. So, the usual outward restriction becomes internalized self discipline or self criticism. So, it's not like that you are fasting and deep inside you're craving for food. It's just like that the discipline has been deeply ingrained internally as well. This is what the power of the retrograde motion of a planet. So psychologically, Saturn's retrograde motion turns its energy inward. The usual outward restriction become internalized self-discipline or self-criticism. This means our critic. This means our inner critic Saturn goes into overdrive, forcing us to face unresolved emotions and patterns rooted in the past, often the distant past, as Pisces relates to ancestral and past life themes. Saturn here can manifest as a vague sense of guilt or unworthiness with no obvious source, a reflection of karmic residue or early conditioning. So, again, guys, all of that comes to like whether this combination will drive you into internal self discipline or it will drive you towards guilt and self loathing. So, that is dependent on the evolutionary level of the soul. Now, guys, the point number two is like karmic healing and inner child. So, Saturn retrograde is often likened to a karmic review period. Emotions and memories long buried can resurface now, not to torment us, but to be resolved. In a spiritual sense, one might experience vivid dreams of past lives or sudden insight into family karma. So, again, guys, that is the only reason I also carry a dream dictionary with me. And oh my God, I keep on getting so many dreams, and every morning I need to just first find that book and see what my that dream which I saw last night means. So yes, you have to be very aware of this. Especially if this combination in your case is taking place in your fourth house, eighth house, or the 12th house, which will happen if you have a fire rising sign or even the moon sign. So you have to be mindful of the pattern and you have to connect the dots. So, in other words, the ultimate lesson Saturn in Pisces wants to impart is self acceptance and trust in the divine plan, freeing the inner child from guilt. This deep healing of old samskaras is a significant part of the soul evolution here. Now, guys, the third point which I have written is dissolution of ego and spiritual restructuring. So Pisces is often associated with the dissolution of ego boundaries. Again, guys, there's nothing more than like the way people say, like even Aquarius energy is also connected with being philanthropic, being humanitarian. But even till the time you are in the domain and the range of the Aquarius, you still hold something to you with you. Like, for example, I am helping people because I find myself responsible and accountable. But when you reach Pisces, all the boundaries break. So that is the only reason planet like Venus attains exaltation in Pisces because now there is no boundaries in the love. So that is what the power of the Pisces is. So, yes, Pisces is often associated with the dissolution of ego boundaries. It is the sign where the individual self can melt into the universal ocean. Saturn, on the other hand, represents structure, boundaries, and the ego's defenses. Saturn builds wall and fortifications. So, thus, Saturn in Pisces is a bit of a paradox, like structure meet formlessness. In a retrograde phase, this paradox is internalized. Our ego feel under pressure to relax control. So, but again, guys, this is what I mean to say, and this is what the objective of this discussion is. And even in my case, guys, because being a Aries Lagna, you experience things in a purest of the way. And not only that, because my Saturn Dasha is also active. So means I'm actually experiencing Saturn in a purest way. So not only Saturn is transiting in the 12th house of mine, but also in the natal chart it is placed in the 8th house. And I realized this thing that to a certain point we all are helpless and we are just the medium, and even for our professional aspiration you have to surrender, you have to let the divine take control and be in the driving seat, because otherwise unnecessary efforts will just lead towards aimless wandering, and waste less efforts and all. And this is what everyone has to understand. Okay, in my case, if Saturn Pisces combination is in the 12th house, in your chart, it might be Saturn Pisces combination right now might be happening in the 10th house, ninth house, 8th house, 4th house. But the underlying theme is going to be the same, that for your achievement, accomplishment, attached duties, responsibility, sacrifice the way we say that, just keep on doing your karma and don't get attached to the fruits of it. Leave the fruits in the hands of the divine. So guys, now after this, so just few points. So like navigating Saturn retrograde in Pisces, practical guidance for the seekers. So Saturn retrograde in Pisces can be seen as an invitation to do serious shadow work, engage in karmic healing, and restructure the subconscious mind. And the path towards that, to achieve that, could be embrace meditation and solitude. That will become very important. Again, guys, let me be very clear with you. Isolate yourself, be in solitude, and in a few while you will get to know that the kind of thoughts which will be coming to you, that will be a very good and fair litmus test which will give you this indication that how much work you have to do with your Saturn, in which dignity Saturn is working in your case. So like for example, if you are being isolated and you're not able to do the time, you're not able to endure the time, so that means Saturn energy is not working in a constructive way for you. Or let's say for example, you love isolation because it gives time to hone your skills, to contemplate on the purpose of the life. So that means Saturn energy is working in a very constructive way in your life. Point number two, guys, is that journaling and dream work. So that becomes very important because the kind of dreams and the kind of like your awareness, subconsciousness, feelings, and the matters of compassion, empathy. So journaling, all of that will become very important. Is there a pattern which you are seeing? Knowing that becomes very important. Point number three is that about mantra and the prayer, obviously become very important. This could be connected with the planet Saturn. This could be connected to the your East Devata and all. Structured spiritual routine. So yes, guys, because from the Pisces, Saturn gives its straight aspect to the Virgo sign as well. So whatever spiritual routine you have, there has to be a, like, whatever you do, this could be meditation, watering the plants, or going for a jog, feeding animals, feeding birds, whatever you do as your spiritual duty and all, there has to be a proper structure, routine, and discipline over there. Creative and therapeutic outlets. So this could be a case like for certain people, like doing meditation in the group classes. For certain people, for them, just working on their craft, like playing music, playing some instrument, is very therapeutic for them. So that can also be channelized. Service, compassion, letting go becomes very important. Don't hold on to the things. Otherwise, Saturn will create more problem, more worries, more uncertainties and anxiety for you. Because then there is going to be fear, fear of losing things, fear of losing power. So that fear is going to be there. Ethical discipline and lifestyle changes becomes very important. So ethics, beyond any doubt, becomes very important. And again, guys, when we talk about Pisces, so even the charities which are done, never ever get attached to it. Never ever feel yourself accountable, responsible, or see yourself as the doer. You're just the medium. And the patience is very important. Let Saturn do its job. Let Saturn cleanse, purify the blockages. Then only it can give you chance or pave path towards building something new. Now, guys, after that, so the whole summary of this discussion is that Saturn retrograde in Pisces, general significance. Saturn represents karma, discipline, duties, fears, and long term life lessons. Whatever, in whichever way Saturn is working in your life, it has a long term vision in mind. So, that is the only reason. Saturn's placement in the chart, its dasha, its transit, whatever it gives us, we retain it for a long span of the time. Now, guys, so Pisces, ruled by Jupiter, governs intuition, spiritual liberation, imagination, and dissolution. And during retrograde, Saturn internalizes its energy, revisiting unresolved karmic themes and pressing for emotional and spiritual maturity. Now, guys, let's briefly look at that how it is going to be influencing all the rising signs. Like the way I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it is just a brief synopsis. Obviously, once we will start coming close to the July, I will make a elaborative version of this as well. Just because these days, guys, the way things are happening and the whole geopolitical development is happening. So Jupiter turning with this transit in the Gemini, being in that Atichari motion along with Saturn turning retrograde in this war like global environment, tariff war. So, knowing what Saturn is trying to do becomes very important. It is kind of breaking the old patterns, creating the new alliances, new world order, new geographic like borders, boundaries of the countries and all. So it's a retrograde is going to have very deep implication. So once the right time will come, we will be close to the month of the July. We will do another video. This is just a summary of it. So guys, for the Aries rising, what to expect, guys? So guys, in your case, it is happening in your 12th house. So the general theme is 12th house, which represents the losses, detachment, solitude, foreign travel, and spiritual purification. So Saturn's retrograde may intensify emotional withdrawal. It might trigger expenses or revive the old fears and the sleep issue. So be mindful that whichever way Saturn is operating in your life, this could be the recurring theme which you have to deal with. And through these only, there might be some deep lessons which will be in the pipeline for you. So it's also an ideal time, guys, for ashram visit, isolation based healing, like we say the Maun Vrat or like the fasting, intermittent fasting, all of that, or revisiting the foreign ties. Spiritual lesson, guys, for you is learn to surrender, heal through conscious solitude. So again, it's not about like, for example, that you have to like be in that mode of the self-loathing or trying to do something or get something which looks unattainable and forcing your will or like forcing things against the tide of the nature or the way things have been planned for you. So don't go that way. So heal through conscious solitude and like obviously escapism. 12th house is the house of the escapism. A lot of the drug issue and addiction issue like generally comes from the 12th house. So just try not to be an escapist. That's all what can be said. Like for example, for the Aries lagna, Saturn is your 10th and the 11th lord. So that means the matters of your profession and for whatever you are trying to do, whatever has been assigned to you, whatever you are responsible for, so you have to be accountable for it, not trying to escape. If, like, let's say, for example, Saturn created some initial setbacks or hurdles for you. So that does not mean that now you have to change the course. Rather than thinking about changing the course, contemplate and think about increasing your efforts. Now, guys, when we talk about the Taurus ascendant, so guys, for the Taurus ascendant, Saturn is going to be it's transiting in your 11th house, and this is where it is going to be turning retrograde. So guys, the general theme with the 11th house is like this is the house of the friends, gains, ambition, and the social network. So the way the retrograde energy of the Saturn will work in this period of time is there might be delay in the fulfillment of the long held desires, old friendship or group karma may resurface. So like it comes with its own set of adjustment, struggle, and the rewards. Review your goals and the alliances who support your soul evolution. So again, guys, it's about Saturn. So that means whatever like breakup is happening, whatever new collaboration and alliance is happening, all what matters is that what touches you on a deeper level, what is going to be helping you on a long term vision, that will become very important. And the spiritual lesson, guys, for you is detachment from ego driven gains, find contentment in the higher ideals. Now, guys, when we talk about the Gemini rising natives, so guys, in your case, Saturn is transiting in the 10th house, and this is where it is going to be turning retrograde. So, guys, the Saturn being in the Pisces in the 10th house has got a theme or an area which influences your career, status, responsibility, and the public image. Now, retrograde Saturn may stall career growth for a while, demand re evaluation of your role and the ambitions. So again, guys, you might be undermining yourself or trying to settle down with less, or this could be a case that you do not know that there is a limit to your efforts, to your capabilities, but only if you can surrender yourself like Arjun did, as you can see in the Bhagavad Gita and all. So the whole cosmic power is going to be working with you, for you. Like the way we say, the range and the limit of a cup is of a limited capacity or volume of the water. But you put the same cup in the ocean, so that means has now submerged into the whole ocean. So, guys, time to restructure professional goals, reconnect with the purpose. So, again, guys, again, I'm saying the same thing. If you are a very rational and a practical 2 plus 3, 5 person, then astrology is not for you. You have to think deep, you have to go deep within, and you have to accept whatever way universe is working for you. So for example, let's say for example, in certain cases, if there's going to be complete turn around of the things for you, this might be a message. Like if that happens in your career, that okay, this is not meant for you. What is meant for you is much more deep. So this is how you have to see things. Because guys, again, Saturn is a good planet for you. Everything comes down to that what role that planet plays for you. And guys, in your case, it is your eighth lord as well and the ninth lord. So that means the deepest lesson of the life and the fortune will only awaken through ninth house fortune, eighth house through transformation. Now, guys, the spiritual lesson for you is let go of the superficial success. Real work is soul aligned service. Now, guys, when we talk about the Cancer Lagna natives, Cancer ascendant, Cancer moon sign. So, guys, in your case, it is happening in your ninth house. So, the general theme for you is that see, ninth house is the house of the belief, dharma, guru, father guidance, long distance journey. Now, if Saturn is going to be turning retrograde over here, that simply means crisis of faith or philosophical disillusionment is possible. So this could be a case that the guru you have strong faith or person who you see as a mentor and all, there might be some misalignment which might happen, but it might also have some deep lessons for you. May reconnect with past teachers or spiritual practices. It's a good time for retraining, scriptural studies, or for any sort of pilgrimage. Spiritual lesson, guys, for you is surrender false doctrines, seek experiential wisdom, not the blind faith. Now, guys, for the Leo moon sign or the Leo Lagna natives, guys, it is going to be taking place in your eighth house. Very potent, very powerful. And right at that time, guys, Ketu is going to be transiting in your first house and Jupiter in the 11th house. So the thing is, guys, in your case, cosmos and nature is working in a way that whatever purification, cleansing Saturn will be working in your eighth house, you will have this capacity to perceive it well. Ketu in the first, and like any of the highest of the wish which has been blocked so far can also get fulfilled. Jupiter in the 11th house. So, guys, the general theme, eighth house, which represents transformation, inheritance, secrets, intimacy, and psychological healing. So, the retrograde Saturn digs deep into subconscious fears and traumas. Ancestral or sexual karmas may return. Best for therapy, occult studies, tantra, or shadow work. Spiritual lesson for you guys is embrace inner death for spiritual rebirth. Purify by facing the fears. So, yes, guys, during this time, Saturn will make you experience your deeply repressed emotion and the fears just for Saturn to completely cleanse them from your life, from your memories, from your subconsciousness. Now, guys, for the Virgo ascendant or the moon natives, so guys, in your case, Saturn is there in your seventh house. So, seventh house, which represents, tells about the partnership, marriage, public dealings, and the contracts. Now, Saturn retrograde may test committed relationship, karmic patterns return, or old contracts resurface. So again, guys, there's nothing to worry about it. Let's say, for example, you get to know any secret of your partner, or any of the misunderstanding happens, it might be to deepen the bond in the relationship. Avoid rushing into new commitments. Yeah, that becomes very important, especially when Saturn is going to be like retrograde over here. Spiritual lesson, guys, for you is learn balance in a relationship, clear the projections and emotional codependency. Now, guys, when we talk about for the Libra Lagna natives, so guys, in your case, it is going to be happening in your sixth house. So that simply means this is the house of the health, routine, service, debts, and the enemies. Beyond any doubt, Saturn is the most important and auspicious planet for you. So, whatever it is going to be doing, working, is only going to have good things in store for you. So, this could be a time of the unresolved health issue which needs to be fixed, work stress, which might be preparing you for some important responsible positions in the future, or some sort of old litigation and all may return. So, you have to be mindful of that. Focus on the discipline, healing therapies, and karmic service. This could be like this could be going to any yoga center, any temple, any gurdwara, and offering the voluntary work over there. Spiritual lesson, guys, for you is self mastery through humble services. Convert resentment into compassion. That will become very important. Now, guys, for the Scorpions, Saturn is going to be turning retrograde in your fifth house. So, guys, we know that fifth house, which represents the creativity, children, love affairs, education, and speculation. So, there could be delays in the childbirth, romantic reconnection, someone with whom you had a history or a past might resurface in the life, or in certain cases there might be some sort of creative blocks because Saturn just wants you to not settle for less, go much deep in your work. It's going to be time to re-evaluate creative purpose and intellectual ego. So the spiritual lesson, guys, for you is let go of the attachment to the outcomes, create for the soul, not for the applause, not for the public accolades and all. Now, guys, for the Sagittarius ascendant or the moon sign natives, it's going to be happening in your fourth house. Fourth house, which tells about the matters of our home, our emotions, mother, real estate, and the inner peace. So, like this could be a time when the old family wounds or home responsibilities may return. So, be mindful, be prepared for it. Focus on the cleansing emotional karma and caring for the mother or the family. Spiritual lesson, guys, for you is heal the heart to feel secure. Inner home matters more than outer property. So, yes, I always say that fourth house actually works as a emotional anchor. So, whatever you are emotionally rooted or dependent, this is where Saturn is going to be working. Is it worth it? It is worth a while to be dependent so much for your emotions, for your feelings, for your security. This is where Saturn will strengthen you. Now, guys, for the Capricorn ascendant or the moon sign, Saturn is going to be turning retrograde in your third house. So, third house, which represents our sibling, relationship with the siblings, our courage, communication, travel, and the initiative. So, now, guys, there could be test in the assertiveness. There might be delay in the communication or karma with sibling. Now, guys, beyond any doubt, third house transit of the Saturn is considered as very strong. I always say in the case of the Saturn, zodiac sign is important, but it's the house from where the result comes. So that means whatever changes, transformation, purification Saturn will be doing, introspection it is going to be doing for you. It might have something to do with to prepare you for some formidable actions, initiations in the future. So good for rewriting, journaling, or reviewing a past project. Spiritual lesson, guys, for you is speak with integrity. Actions must reflect the inner truth. Yeah, because it's a Pisces energy. Now, guys, when we talk about the Aquarius ascendant or the moon sign, so guys, it is going to be happening in your second house. So the general theme connected with the second house is this is the like the house of the speech, family, food, finances, and values. Saturn is, if you're watching this as per the ascendant, it is your ascendant lord. If you're watching it from the moon, So Saturn also has got a strong say over your mental health, your emotions, your feelings. So guys, financial karma may resurface. Family dispute or speech restraint may be necessary during this time. Reassess the value system and the money patterns, the way you managed money, the way your mindset, your attitude around money. So like some people have got this pessimistic way, oh, I'm born in a very average middle class family, this is how I'm going to be. Some people are very snobbish, very arrogant with the money, with their possession. So all these value systems need to be reassessed. And guys, the spiritual lesson for you is true wealth is inner enlightenment. True wealth is inner alignment. Speak only when the words uplift. That will become very important because see, guys, like Capricorn is also like very authority and the power oriented, but Aquarians are the wise person of the zodiac. So that means like the philosophical, spiritual, and the insightful talks is not expected as much as from any other zodiac sign, the much it is expected out of you. So that's what Saturn will ensure. And lastly, guys, when we talk about the for the Pisces, Saturn turning retrograde right over there in your first house, if you're watching it from the ascendant or if you're watching it from the moon, so on right over on your moon. So, guys, the general theme is identity, self-perception, body, life direction. So, a phase of the soul searching, fatigue, or self-doubt might loom. Saturn is restructuring your self-concept. Time for slow, steady self development, physically, spiritually, and emotionally as well. So, yes, the lot of the self development will happen, like things which needed to be get rid of. Because Saturn is your 12th lord as well, and things which you need to attain, the person you have to become, what the society expect out of you, 11th house. So yes, steady self development, like this could be physical, spiritual, emotional. Spiritual lesson for you guys is shed the false identities, rebirth through simplicity, patience, and purpose is very important. So, guys, the final advice for all everyone is that Saturn retrograde in Pisces is a time of karmic recalibration. Avoid escapism. Focus on the inner work, service, and disciplined spirituality. Repeat the mantra Om Sham Shanishcharai Namaha and practice Saturn friendly discipline, fasting on Saturdays, helping the underprivileged, silence, and journaling will become very important. So, yes, guys, this was just a basic overview. And once again, guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. I will be coming up with a detailed video very soon. It was just a synopsis or summary of what is coming our way. So once again, guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. And for further more updates and notification on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Thank you.